a lot of it is going to be that it's highly anticipated, that it's Rockstar, that it's naturally going to draw in more attention and more viewers and therefore more backlash. But would that be the same for anyone else? I don't know. We won't know until someone else tries it.
Welcome to the Weekly Download, the definitive weekly podcast on the video games industry.
Hello and welcome back to the Weekly Downloads. I was going to say the Daily Download just because it's got that nice alliteration to it, and that's not it. Unfortunately, for all of our regular listeners, you have got the second-rate host, which is I, Alex, who am stepping in to the host seat from Tom this week, who has dutifully laid out all of our talking points. So we are, as they say, doing it live. But on the plus side, we do have a better co-host than we normally have, because the co-host is usually me. And we have Yaz joining me today.
Hello. Don't belittle yourself like that. I'm sure the readers love you, or the listeners, I should say.
I'm pretty big to start with. I mean, I can do with some belittling. It's absolutely fine. But as I said, this is the Big Games Machine Weekly Download, your summation of the biggest stories of the week, as we're going to run you through those kind of pretty quickly. As I said, Tom's laid all of this out, and if you prefer to read your news, Tom's also put together a fantastic summary of this, which will be up on the Substack tomorrow. So do check that out if that's the way you'd rather stay informed. And we will be and once you're in, we will send all that your way every Friday. But today we have got some big news of the week, and these include the Netflix and GTA working together. We're also going to be looking at some supermassive layoffs, the Square Enix Q1 profits soaring, the good news for them there, and also some Saber Interactive news where they deny utilizing ChatGPT. So all of the kind of industry standard buzz we're going to be touching on today. So kicking those off with the lead story, which was, as alluded to, the news that Rockstar will be putting a GTA 6 extended look trailer behind a Netflix paywall. Now, I would say I would give more story to that, but I think almost the headline says it all. So before we go into some of the more kind of detaily bits of this, Yaz, do you have any thoughts on pure marketing trailers and things being put behind essentially a paywall, even if it is Netflix, perhaps the most ubiquitous of paywalls?
My first reaction is it's scummy, and I know a lot of people have said that online as well, but the problem is that GTA is so big, and it's the most anticipated game of all time, I reckon. They're going to get away with it, and people will buy Netflix subscriptions just to watch it. But the thing that's getting me is like, we're going to paywall it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, I think people can come away from it pretty quickly and get on. They can see it pretty soon. And as I think Tom pointed out yesterday when he was talking about this story being in here, I'm pretty sure within 5 minutes there will be other ways of you seeing it.
That's the thing.
Really
I think it's going to be leaked either way.
Yeah, I'm not even sure it's a leak once it's up and out. Like it's just what it is. But yes, this is an extended GTA 6, an extended look, which is launching on Netflix first and will hit YouTube 6 hours later. I believe it's next Thursday, Thursday the 27th.
Yes, 20.
So it's going to essentially during Gamescom. I don't know if that's going to be joined by something on the show floor, if they're doing anything. I imagine they're doing something. But I don't know. I should probably check the floor chart.
I'll say you're going. You should know.
I know. Well, yeah. I sit at one table and take meetings all day. I do not get to see any of the fanciness of the show floor. But yes, Rockstar. This means Rockstar is monetizing the promotional hype around the deal rather than treating it as what we think of as a normal ad or trailer event. Now, obviously, we've seen some crossovers like this before with was it The Last Jedi? What was The Force Awakens, where Palpatine first appeared in Fortnite and things like this, and essentially cashing in on your popularity even ahead of the product. Yes. So it's not unique in its own right like that, but it is a very interesting way of taking it rather than perhaps paying to place it somewhere. Having Netflix money probably came the other way is no doubt putting them in a very strong position, which with something that's already massively hyped. It also gives Rockstar direct access to the 260 million subscribers that are already subscribed to Netflix. Now, ignoring the people who will purchase a subscription for this event, that's obviously a huge number, and it might, through the kind of general buzz and being exclusive there, pull in people that might not be glued to the normal streaming channels, things like that, because this is perhaps a game that casts its net wider than gaming, I guess
Yeah,
I
it's an
say, with a
interesting
rising
cross
intonation.
between, like, it's funny to see the gaming industry and the TV industry kind of working together. I say TV industry, it's more like streaming industry nowadays, but
Yeah, what
yeah,
it is, what it
it's an
is.
interesting crossover, but I think I remember seeing somewhere that the CEO said it was kind of an experimental marketing move for them to see how it goes, but I mean,
The
I've seen so much
CEO
backlash
of
already.
Netflix.
Rockstar, I believe.
The CEO of Rockstar. Okay,
I could be wrong.
sure. No. I'm just sat here going like, really? You've got one game every 16
Yes.
years?
Yeah. Yeah, CEO Rockstar.
It will be fascinating. It kind of points out in some ways, and you're quite right. You know, they're quite right. It is an experiment. I don't know that it's replicable in any way, shape, or form. GTA 6 is fairly unique. By the time GTA 7 may roll around, who knows what gaming is going to look like?
In the next 20 years or so.
Yeah, exactly. Lord, I'm going to be 60. I'm going to be more than 60 by the time GTA 7 comes out, if GTA 7 comes out.
It's a big if, isn't it?
It was my first conversation with somebody for New Biz the other day when I realised I'd be 50 when it came around. People don't need to witness my midlife crisis in real time. It's fine. We can move on from that. So yeah, does this pave the way for more AAA reveals being behind these paywalls on things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Apple, do you think? Or is this
God, I
just
hope
kind of
not.
a one-off?
I hope not. Like I said, there's been so much backlash already that I've seen online, and I think I've seen polls where I don't know what website it was on, I've forgotten now, but it was like, are you going to purchase Netflix just for this? And it was like 4% said yes.
And how many have it already, I guess, is the other
Yes,
telling part there.
that's,
Because
yeah.
I wouldn't be convinced this on Netflix's part was anything to do with driving new subscribers. I bet it's more to get people logging in so they see the value in something they
Yeah,
already
maybe.
have.
Yeah.
Like, it's that active users that they're chasing there, I'm sure, beyond
Mm.
like it being but then again, 4% could be a lot of people. So
Yeah. It only takes
you
a few,
might say what
doesn't it?
Netflix are after.
Yes.
And I must admit, read it, as I said, Tom put these notes together for us. And it's kind of, we've had various discussions recently about obviously physical media kind of petering out and all the things that are happening with that. And particularly ironic given GTA 6 isn't having any physical release.
Mhm.
But were it to be on Amazon Prime, I'd see a kind of like direct to pre-order thing that would have made a lot of sense at a previous
Yeah,
point. But
maybe.
we're in a scenario now where that doesn't work. But, you know, until perhaps that ends, it getting on, if you have a game that's big enough,
And that's the
can
thing, what
perhaps
other game is big enough? Like, what other game is on GTA 6's level to pull it off? I don't think there are many.
no. No, I mean, it's small. And again, I think that most of the others have, and I'm not going to say watered down, because I think a lot of the larger IPs, you know, it's not necessarily the yearly ones, but the people that do kind of like more regular than this haven't diluted their brand too much. But I think it really is just the oddity, the infrequency of GTA that makes this really stand out and makes it work.
Yeah. The
Um,
only other game I think of that could pull it off is if they ever came out with a Red Dead 3.
well, you're
But that's
just
Rockstar again.
listing Rockstar games now.
That is just Rockstar again, yes.
I'm not sure. I reckon if, let's think, this is a thought experiment. Feel like, so Capcom have obviously had a deal with Netflix in the past, so I could see them maybe doing something with Resident Evil. Like, that's obviously a huge brand.
Mhm.
And I know I bring up Resident Evil at every given opportunity, but that's not the only reason. I think if they were doing something big enough with Final Fantasy, though I do worry that that brand's kind of dropped off a little bit since 14, that there's something there that could stick. I'm really struggling with Western brands because they're also all the ones that I would have said 10 years ago. They've all become so commodified and yearly that it's just a really hard. Maybe if they bought FIFA back, if they put FIFA back on as a thing and it was FIFA again, they could point at a load of licenses and put the stars on there. I think you could probably do a showcase of that really nicely, or another.
Well, with the EA deal that's just recently happened, who knows
Well,
what's going to
who
happen with their
knows?
titles?
Absolutely. But I feel like that's something. But I'm hard pushed to think of much else that would fill in the gaps there. Part of me wants to
Yeah.
twist my head around and see if I've got any books on my thing about any specific games. WoW, if they made a WoW 2, but even that, I don't know. That's enough of an ongoing concern at this point.
Yeah. Maybe The Last of Us 3, if there's a
Yeah,
Last of Us 3.
yeah, that would be good. I'd buy that. I mean, I buy that, but also I believe that as part of your statement.
Yeah. Ironically, I think the types of games it could suit really well is like the story choice-based games, the cinematic ones, which is ironically going to
Yeah,
lead into our next story shortly. But I feel like because it's already cinematic, that could be a good crossover. Like it would work really well. But I just don't think those games are big enough. Apart from Wolf Among Us 2, which is getting a lot of hype, that could work. But
I do. When The Walking Dead at its peak, that could have gone really well
that
as
is like
well.
my
But
all-time favorite game. I love that game.
there you go. Yeah, I was working at Future when that first episode of that came in. I saw it before, and I was like,
It's got a special place in my heart, that game.
interning at Future. Let's not oversell what I did. Yes, I mean, I guess the other big question is, this sits in a weird place of that like, and we've alluded to it, this kind of perceived half backlash. Is this getting less backlash because it's Rockstar? Is it getting more attention and thus backlash also because it's Rockstar? Or is it this was always going to be it and it's just kind of the percentages and everything, all of the impact is the same. It's just a bigger stage for it. Where do you think that kind of sits?
I don't think you're going to get a set answer to that until someone else tries it.
That's true.
Because I think, yes, a lot of it is going to be that it's highly anticipated, that it's Rockstar, that it's naturally going to draw in more attention and more viewers and therefore more backlash. But would that be the same for anyone else? I don't know. We won't know until someone else tries it.
Absolutely. And that's, and that's the truth of it, as I'm telling a lot of prospects at the moment, like this year, all bets are off in what the calendar's going to look like. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's already a hit. I don't think this impacts any part of that. I don't think the 6 hours is going to be particularly negative. And I imagine that by the time those 6 hours are up, you're probably going to have shifted into prime time in the US. I don't know what time of day it's dropping, but I would imagine that you're going to have it's going to be peak time in Europe to kind of then allow peak time in the US to be both.
Yes. We'll see.
Again, I should have checked the time on that, but it is the 22nd. So moving on, we've got our 3 smaller stories, probably smaller stories, because they're not GTA 6, which frankly is the biggest story, whatever it touches at the moment. But yeah, you alluded to this before, and this is the news that Supermassive Games is laying off up to 75%. Oh, sorry, not 75%. That would be even bigger news. 75 staff to ensure sustainability. Now, the Guildford-based studio has cut up these 75 roles on top of 36 redundancies made in mid-2025 after a mixed reception to Directive 8020. Obviously, I say obviously, if people don't know, Supermassive does high budget motion capture games, very Hollywood style. A lot of Hollywood actors are in there. I think Rami Malek was in one of their games long before he kind of moved into everything else. That chap from Grey's Anatomy with the striking eye. Oh no, that was Detroit 2 Human. I'm quoting the wrong games now.
Yes.
But there's other, but that kind of level of star, and they create single player narrative games that, that sheer weight of talent or prestige going in obviously makes it a harder thing to bring that money back. We were alluding before to this kind of Netflix and gaming and this kind of overlap between games and TV. Is this a lack of interest?
That is so hard to say. This is like my favorite genre of game, is these story-based, choice-based games. I haven't actually played Directive 8020. You know what? I didn't actually realize. I knew it was coming out, but I didn't know when. I didn't know it was a year old already. Things like, Until Dawn was
You are why these people have been let go, Yaz. You personally.
Oh, don't say that. No. No, please don't.
So I didn't either, to be fair. And I am also keen on these games, although I haven't bought many of them. I tend to stick towards the horror end.
Yeah. Which does make me wonder. I wonder if perhaps they needed a better marketing campaign. I don't know. Anyway, Until Dawn was obviously the big one. The Quarry was great, but the ending let it down. The Dark Pictures anthologies are good, and they do get gory and horrorsome, but kind of goofy in places as well.
Well, I don't mind that.
And the problem with this genre of gaming is that a lot of the choices don't seem to matter at the end, which is what deters a lot of people.
How do I say this? It's hard to know what matters. It's hard to know what smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
It has always been my issue with them, and how much of it's just like arbitrary and how much of it's, an actual impact. I remember getting can I spoil Heavy Rain? Is that allowed now? Are we past that point?
Of course, yeah.
The twist in that where, one of the characters ends up being the villain. I'm not even going to spoil it that much, but But I always felt very cheated by that because he was the character that I'd kind of
Mhm.
associated with the most through it. And then you end up in this weird place where you're like, well, I wasn't embodying them then. I'm just guiding a character around. I'm making decisions for them, but I'm not them. And it got very weirdly removed.
That's a good point.
And I felt a bit cheated by that. And that honestly soured me a bit on the genre, which, given how early on and everything that kind of came. So yeah, that's always been the kind of challenge. I loved Until Dawn. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Everyone loves Until Dawn.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that. And I'm surprised they haven't been able to mirror that again. But I think they're also up against the struggle of games have just become more cinematic. Like you're looking at,
Mhm.
we're going to make a cinematic game. And then over here in the corner, you've got The Last of Us, which is a game. I mean, it's cinematic in the kind of traditional sense of what cinema might look like, but it's not using, I don't want to say any cinematic tricks because that's not true either. But, you know, it's in engine. It's not kind of framed like a movie. And the choices you make are active in the moment as opposed to pick A or B within X number of seconds. Yeah. I know what you mean though. That kind of, is it hidden? Is it not? And definitely exemplified by, as you kind of said before, the kind of Telltale games, which like they'll remember this. It's like, will they though?
That's
Will
the
they?
meme, yeah. Such and such will remember this. I don't think they will. Or like it'll say, this character will remember us, but they die like 2 minutes later. Whoa, huge impact.
As noted here, Tom giving us a bit of context to this that perhaps we haven't touched on. After they lost Capcom as a publishing partner, they lost production, marketing, and distribution in the deal, which obviously is probably has likely impacted their reach and kind of falls back to everything else. But
Like I
but
was
as
saying
said,
then. Yeah.
maybe it is more about shifting in what games are and what movies are, and then becoming a bit more what movie games look like, becoming a bit more distinct. But yeah, obviously they started to put out a load of games, much like Telltale. They really came into, like, with the Dark Anthology, they started putting out games fairly regularly, but they just don't seem to have hit the mark.
Yeah, there's not another Until Dawn level again. And even the remaster of it where they added like little extra scenes at the end. Did you not know about this? My bad. Go check it out.
No, that's not knowing there wasn't a remaster is perhaps even more so doggedly looking at what the
It was very
problems are.
odd because it was a remaster, but it was like priced as a regular full AAA game again. So people weren't happy with that. But
And how did they do that with the is it like cutting room floor stuff they were
I could
sopping
not
up?
tell you. You'll have to check it out yourself. But it looked good. It didn't really change much of the story, apart from adding a few extra bonus things like towards the end.
I do remember trying to play it with someone I was seeing once because they were kind of keen on horror movies as well. I was like, oh, it's a horror. And then you realize how it does sit in a weird place between the two.
Yes.
It's like when you're going to the other cabin at the start, it's trying to set a mood. It's just, you're just controlling somebody down a troublingly long walk to another cabin. And you're like, this could have been a minute. I've been going for 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's
or
exactly
more
why,
longer.
like, people like my partner, for example, he hates essentially walking simulators, right? It's not fun. It's not good gameplay. It's just like time filler. So yeah, I get the dislike there.
Yeah, I think it stopped you being able to pull in people that I feel like it sits in a place between movies and games. It's meant to pull in the people from the movies who maybe never played a game. And it just is a little bit too complicated
Yes.
for that. Anyway, I still love them. Don't want to make
I still love them too. And I should play Directive 8020 because I was really excited about that. But it's sad to see another studio doing more layoffs again.
Absolutely. Now, in better news, Square Enix Q1 profits have soared following the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launch on Switch 2 and Xbox. This saw net sales rise 32.3% to 78.4 billion yen, or 92 million. Thanks, Tom. With operating income comes surging 510% in digital entertainment to 15.5 billion yen, not dollars. Now, this multi-platform expansion of the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth onto these other platforms and unlocking PCs, massive audience have obviously kind of rejuvenated this. And, you know, it also comes alongside the kind of the series kind of moving towards multi-platform. It's obviously traditionally been very, well, not traditionally, since 7, it's been very PlayStation focused, and it does demonstrate the value of not necessarily aligning yourselves with a single production house, even if they are supporting you through production. Do you play Final Fantasy yet?
I do not. The only titles I actually know Square Enix by are the Life is Strange ones, which they ran into the ground anyway by the end, so it's whatever. But I mean, I know there's a huge following for it out there. I know there's a huge Final Fantasy fandom that are very involved in the games and love it. I've heard good things. It's just never spoken to me. I don't know.
I need to play. I mean, I completed 7. Yes, I completed 7. It was 8 I didn't complete because my hard drive got foobarred on the final disc. The thing with my understanding with 7 is that it did a lot of what I really liked about the Resident Evil remake, not to always bring it back to Resident Evil, but it is the center
Here
of
we
all
go
gaming,
again.
which is to play around with people's expectations. But it sounds like it took a real detour and dived deeper, which sounds both wacky and fun. But also now I feel like I had it spoiled before I ever kind of got round to the interest of it, which is just a shame. But this idea that single platform launches are no longer viable. I mean, obviously we're seeing GTA best on PlayStation kind of messaging to pick up some of that marketing budget, but not committing and cutting yourself off from what are huge audiences. And that's proved particularly by Nintendo's, moving it all over to the Switch 2 and having all that hit at once because the platform could now support it. Also in a region where it's massively popular, paying off for them on a massive scale. And it's Final Fantasy, it's Switch 2 at launch, it's acquire to store, it's one of the few Switch 2 exclusives. So it might not be something that you can replicate for many games, but still, it does demonstrate what that cross-platform impact can look like. Otherwise, I was going to say cross-platform, which was absolutely wrong.
I think so. In Tom's notes here, it says that a 90% of sales for Square Enix in this quarter came through digital downloads, which is just kind of in line with the rest of the industry as well. And it does feed into this broader conversation of people who love physical games. Is the industry going to switch over to that fully digital retail space?
It's not having a choice. So it's not even a choice for PlayStation now. I mean, it was the same, I think the same stats were given for Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm. Here we go again.
Sorry, I just realised what I've done.
We need like a Resident Evil counter on the screen.
Yes, it's not wrong. It is a proper problem for me. But no, like a lot of one of the things about the recent 9 was that it increased sales for every previous game. And of course, nearly all of those, they are all digital. Any of the physical ones are resales. They won't show up on any sales charts unless there are those compilation ones that knock around on like Switch 2. So arguably them as well. But yeah, for the most part, like people are buying games. And I think that's something else that perhaps isn't touched on. Like people are buying games from even longer ago.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't necessarily buying games when they come out. They're waiting for deals. They're waiting for this. They're waiting for that. And obviously when it comes to physical media, keeping those stored somewhere, keeping them back on the off chance one day people are going to want to play them. The idea that having physical aids in game preservation is correct, but also it doesn't help retail preserve things because they need to get rid of it and clear that inventory. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, digital, rightly or wrongly, for all the limitations it's going to provide and all the consumer choice we're going to lose, is the way things are going. Yeah. As proven there. And massively benefiting Square Enix, to wrap that around to the point of this story.
Yes, true. It is nice, to be fair, it is nice to see a studio that's actually doing well in comparison to all the layoff stories that we see.
Yes. There are, I think there are probably studios doing quite well. I mean, yeah, it's when Square Enix turn around and fire the entire Final Fantasy team because it didn't reach some target somewhere that we don't know
Please,
about.
God, no. Stop it.
I think Final Fantasy's probably fine.
Let's hope.
Last news, always like a bit of AI news in here, just to sprinkle in for fun. Actually, it's not the final one. We do have another one at the end. But former lead writer Stella Sacco alleged she was replaced by rideshare simulator mid-development by ChatGPT and synthetic voices. That being rideshare simulator being the name of the game. She was replaced on it mid-development. Because I feel like, as I read that, it lost all meaning. Saber denied laying off writers, claiming that its writing team had tripled since 2023. The main story was human written. That feels like some interesting language. But Saber did also admit to using generative AI for experimental free ride mode, claiming that it procedurally generated dialogue for the infinite passengers that this mode generated. I've had thoughts about this in the past.
Go on then,
I'd
share your
love to
thoughts.
hear or share my thoughts from the
Go
past.
on, share your thoughts.
I think there needs to, firstly, laying people off. There's no reason to lay people off in this equation. Like, if you're laying people off because you're utilizing AI for some elements, then that doesn't make sense. However, if this is an infinite mode and like some elements of this, like voice and kind of text, become impractical to continue on an ongoing basis, and I'm not a fan of AI generally, but I think there's something there where you should be paying commission to the both voice actors and the writers, say 20% above everything else, to utilize their work as a training model for everything else that goes around it, and that should be paid without them doing any work. I think there should be rewards for being the model. You shouldn't be replaced at any point in this. But if you're trying to think of a creative mode that can kind of just keep pumping stuff out, that's literally impossible, not literally impossible, I'm sure it would be possible to have some poor writer on this for the rest of their lives. But, within what we're talking about, I think there's possibly a way forward there. But if this sounds suspect, is where I'm falling on that.
Have you watched the trailer, is what I'll say.
No.
If you go ahead and watch that trailer, I will say it is very, very uncanny valley, and the voices, you can tell it's AI, and the top 3 comments on this YouTube video is all about the AI slop. People are not happy. And I love simulator games as well. I was actually really excited for this one. It looked right up my alley, but the fact that it's got AI full stop in it and is, replacing people is just immediately like a turn off to me, and clearly it is for other people as well.
I mean, the plus side of this is that it is forcing or making Steam force developers to disclose their AI and tag it.
Now you
far
say
more
this,
actively.
they haven't
Ooh.
added the tag on the Steam page yet. That's part of the story. There is no tag.
Yes, but aren't Steam forcing them to add it? Or am I misunderstanding
Well, you would assume that further down the line, Steam will reinforce it before it goes on sale, yes. But the fact that they have not added it now and are kind of trying to avoid the issues speaks volumes to me.
So this does kind of skew into a conversation we're having with some clients on occasion at the moment, which is like, people are using AI as placeholder for things. And do you have to disclose it when it's a demo, when it's early, when it's not? When you're not yet charging people money, what are you disclosing it for? Because there are occasionally, like, we've used AI voices as placeholder until the actors come in. I'm like, okay, that's for speak and spell. It sounds less robotic, but, we used to have, when I was at in 1999, I had a thing that could read my text on screen. Is it that? If the text is handwritten, is it that? Like, where does it sit in that equation? Because obviously it's a sliding scale, and like an AI blanket tag is troublesome. If it's in a trailer that's not out yet, that's being used in placeholder, is it still as trouble? It's a very hard.
I think
path.
From what I understood from the story, the AI voices are going to be used in the final game. They're not placeholders. Big
From
issue.
the infinite mode, yeah.
Yeah, but the big issue here is the script for the lead character AI written? Saber say it's not. I mean, I think you should go and watch the trailer and figure it out for yourself. Like I said, it's very uncanny valley, and I think the passengers that get in and the way that the character responds is very like, I just don't think people would say that. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a challenge. And also, is it that the intonation's off because it's being read by an AI? Because sometimes the uncanny valley can come like, that's natural, but the intonation or the pausing or other elements make it sound. If you're being sarcastic, but it's not being read by an AI sarcastically, that can also lead to that impact, right?
Yeah. I don't know. You need to watch the trailer to get more context to that, I think. But it's a shame.
Arguably, I should have done so before the video.
But it is a shame because, again, this kind of game would be a hit in the simulator genre. It just would be. I would love it. But I think as soon as it discloses that it's using generative AI, it just turns so many people off. the fact that they have to make a statement about it and it's getting a lot of press. I mean, just looking at the thumbnail is so like, I mean, I think one of the comments on the YouTube video says, "Way to go, ChatGPT, what a great game."
Yeah, it's not getting any better out there for that.
No,
Anyway.
I hate developers that cut corners and get rid of people for AI. It just bugs me.
I do think that everyone's kind of united on that, at least. I think that's the auteur, the people still creating stuff is still what's wanted there. I think there is a place for AI somewhere. Again, like if you're making a massive game with infinite all sorts in there, maybe there's a use of it. But the people who do it should be trained off stuff you've created.
Yes.
One. And the people creating that stuff should get more than the value of the bespoke stuff that goes in it. They should get not ongoing royalties forever for every time a new passenger gets in. Like, oh, we owe whoever billions because they've been utilized this many times. But it should be a multiplier on their salary.
Yeah, I agree.
Is my feeling as a solution to the problem.
No, I agree with you.
To this specifically, not all of it. Disclaimers all over the place. Feel free to drop a message in the comments if you want to hear more of my rambling opinions on AI and my not fully formed opinions.
Or Resident Evil,
Or Resident Evil. Always
He'll
Resident
talk
Evil.
for days about Resident Evil, so there you go.
Absolutely. Try and get me off the topic, apparently. I don't think there's been one of these I've been on where the Resident Evil hasn't been the example for something. Okay. Yeah. So in the final story this week, Asha Sharma recently visited Bethesda Game Studios, where she went in, saw what's happening with Elder Scrolls 6, praised it, said it looked great. That might not be the exact word she used, but was incredibly positive about it. But then walked out to be met by a giant inflatable rat named Scabby and a load of red flags, each of which represented an employee that had been let go from the studio over protests from the one BGS, the Bethesda Game Studios Union, and the CWS, the Common Workers of America Union. I don't know why it's CWS with those letters, but I'm sure there's a reason. CWA, there's a typo in the story I'm reading. There we go. Video Game Chronicle, spelling errors. That's fine. I can see how that was made. So yes, that's the story there. I mean, it's interesting to see, because we always like to talk about unions. It's interesting to see a protest taking place in real time, especially to a CEO in that way. And when it's otherwise, I'm sure they were hoping to be a positive story about Elder Scrolls 6 getting kind of steamrolled by this.
Yeah. I mean, everyone always loves to hear about Elder Scrolls 6 news. It's been well overdue, but the fact that it's just been washed out by a giant rat is kind of hilarious.
Scabby the giant rat.
Scabby the giant rat.
Obviously, people want to stand up for their colleagues, their co-workers, other people in the union. So yeah, obviously they want to prevent these layoffs, whether that's like stemming the tide. At least maybe they can make it uncomfortable enough that they can improve what the condition, not the conditions, but improve what the settlements might look like for them, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's quite the whistle stop. That's quite the roller coaster of up and downs on news and on that. I'll be honest with you guys, that felt like a real mix this week.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's nice to see some positive news, and it's nice to see GTA 6 still dominating news, I think, at the moment.
Is that good?
Well,
I'm not happy about that. I mean,
okay, maybe not then. I don't know.
Cratering November for everybody.
Yeah,
it is making this year completely unique. I mean, I know every year in gaming, I mean, every industry all the time, things are changing. Like, we get that, but we say about things all the time, like what might look like a fairly uniformed cookie cutter way of doing marketing is never really that, because you're always looking at dates, times, optimizing what you can do, and that's proving even more so this year, because everybody I'm talking to about possible projects, possible PR, possible all of it, it all has to be done in the shadow of GTA. And whether that is, let's risk it, it's going to be a quiet month, and if people aren't buying GTA, they're going to be buying something, or it's like, get out of the way because it's going to suck up all of the organic interest in the room. It's going to be a fascinating year to look at.
Yeah.
Don't think we're going to get many learnings from it that we can apply in the future, but it's going to be an interesting ride nonetheless.
Yeah, I think the fact that so many games are avoiding a November release speaks volumes. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I think that, obviously it's only coming on PlayStation to start off with. So I think those who have a PlayStation will be playing it, and those who don't will be watching content creators online playing it.
It is coming to Xbox as well at launch. It's
Oh, is it? Oh, my
yeah, it's
bad.
not coming. It's not coming to
It's just
Switch
PC
or
then.
PC. Yeah, but it is best on PlayStation. They do have that marketing deal for ads and things. So after ads, you get the PlayStation jingle and things. Yes, to be clear on that, it is. It's a confusing arrangement,
Yes.
but that's how that operates.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jazz. Any final thoughts before we go into the standard like, share, subscribe business?
No, thanks for having me. Great to talk to you as always.
Always great to have you on. Not always as great to be in the host's chair. I much prefer where you're sat, but here I am. I'll take that bullet for Tom, who's having hopefully a lovely day off in this sweltering heat. As always, if you enjoyed this week's show, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions of us in the comment. We'd love to answer you wherever you're listening to it, assuming you're listening to it somewhere where you allow comments. Leave us a review if you're listening to us somewhere where it doesn't allow comments. We'd love to know your opinion of us there too, providing it's good. Well, we'd like to hear about it anyway, but also it'd be great if it's good. As always, subscribe to the Substack if you'd like to get your weekly news in a written format. And I'll look forward to seeing you all. No, I won't be on next week. Someone, including Tom, will look forward to seeing you next week, possibly as.
We'll see. We'll see.
Take care, everyone, and see you next time.